Okay, here we are. We're in Berkeley, and this is Bob. Hi, Bob.
My name is Bob Michaels. Uh, my mother lived in this house for 80 years. She worked for the Royal Oak Police Department fighting crime for 20 years. And then the probate court comes in and takes away everything the criminals couldn't steal. My mother's in a nursing home in Wayne County, and she lived most of her life now in Oakland County. And they're calling it memory care, but
How is her memory?
her memory is excellent, but she's grew up in a strict religious home. Her grandfather started St. John's Church on Rochester Road in Royal Oak, and she grew up in a very strict home, and she was taught to obey authorities and not question them. And she did good her entire life until the probate court came in, and just abused the heck out of her, taking advantage of her niceness. The probate court came in and took away her bank account, her social security checks, her pension checks, her freedom, all her rights.
So, Bob, how long did your mom live here?
Well, probably about 80 years. 80. She lived with my grandmother during the war. She tried to join the Navy during World War II, but she had 3 brothers and a husband already in the Navy, and so they wouldn't take her.
So she's first owner of this home?
But she's the first owner of this house, and she's lived here for like 80 years.
So
they were like in a big rush to sell the house.
Now, who's they? Who's they?
The court, John Munger, the court-appointed guardian conservator. I was all set to pay off the taxes in 4 payments, saving all my money to pay for it. When they took me to court, telling the judge that the taxes were too much, he had to evict me to avoid losing the house. And I've got a long history of making the payments every month for the taxes. There's nothing left. I can barely have any visiting hours to visit my mother in the nursing home because I made a complaint about the care she was getting, and they restricted my visiting hours. And now I'm worried about making any more complaints because they can take away all your rights to visit, and they have complete power over the people they own.
So, Bob, this is a cute little lot here. You have a lot of landscaping. What's going on with the landscaping here? Who's supposed to be taking care of all this?
Well, my mother was a real outdoors green type person. Now she's stuck in a nursing home the rest of her life, and they say they can take better care of things with the court system, but it doesn't seem like they're doing a very good job of it.
Well, let's tell me. I mean, come on. What happened to your driveway here? What's up with this?
Yeah, look at.
Is this the way your mom lived?
No, we kept it in good shape.
So this is where you grew up.
Yeah.
And do you have a brother or sister? Tell me about your family.
Well, I have 2 sisters, Barbara and Susie. And my mother took care of my sister Susie for 20 years, and then when it came time to take care of my mother, my sister Sue was in the court filing the papers to keep her in the nursing home because she didn't want to take care of her. My mother took care of her and her daughter for 20 years. They turned around and stuck her, told the judge they were 50% of the family because my other sister died. So they were 50% of the family, and they said they wanted to keep her in the nursing home. And the judge could have let her go home, but my mother never got to go to the courthouse because the lawyer didn't want to spend $100 for the ambulance to transport her. They postponed the one court when she was there. They postponed it because the judge wasn't there. And then when the judge was there, they didn't have my mother there to tell the judge she wanted to live in her own home. And the judge listened to the court-appointed lawyer who asked my mother if she knew who Bob was, which is my name, Bobby. And my mother, being a smart, intelligent, thoughtful person, thought for a minute because she knows like 30 or 40 Bobs. There's a Bob living next door. I'm a Bob. Her husband was Bob. My 2 brother-in-laws were Bob. And she knows a whole bunch of Bobs. So she says no. And so the court-appointed lawyer told the judge she didn't know who Bob was, like like she didn't know who I was, which is not true. And so the court judge, I guess, decided to put her in a nursing home the rest of her life. She does not have dementia or Alzheimer's. My grandmother has 200 grandkids. No sign of Alzheimer's in our family. My grandmother could remember all the birth dates of all 200 kids, and she used to send them cards with a few bucks in them on all their birthdays. And there was no Alzheimer's or dementia at all in our genes. And my mother still does not have Alzheimer's or dementia.
So here's this water's dripping.
I put that thing on there to stop it.
Well, but the yard is not being maintained.
No.
Is the house emptied out?
It's I don't know. It's a good point.
So wait a minute. Whoa. Oh. Wow, this is really overgrown here.
Yeah.
So Bob, tell me. So how come you're not living here? What happened with that?
Okay. Well, the lawyer, the guardian, told the judge that it was four months out from the tax deadline. They sent me a thing saying, if you pay $16.73 or something by in 4 months, we'll let you keep the house. So I was making enough money I could have divided up the payments in 4 payments. And I would have paid it off, but he told the judge that they were going to lose the house, and I was still staying here at that time, and so the judge signed the order to evict me. On the word of the lawyer. She sent in the last payment. They kept changing the address. She found it, and she was 2 days late sending in the payment, like $275 or something. And so they tacked on a $42 late charge and sent her last payment back. And that was in 2005, and the interest built up to $117,000, which was they should have just let the whole thing go, and accepted the last payment.
And John Munger didn't help your mom with this at all?
No, not at all. No.
Your mom, what's the name of her guardian?
Oh, John Munger. Yeah.
And you met him through what court? What court was it?
Linda Hallmark's court. Yeah.
Linda Hallmark, and she's a judge out of Oakland County Probate, correct?
Oakland County Probate. Yeah.
And so what happened after your mom went off into the nursing home, memory care in Wayne County? What happened to you?
They evicted me from the house. Remember last winter when they had this great big snowfall, 3 feet?
Yeah, it was like Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, they evicted me, and I'm a disabled Vietnam veteran, and I'm a senior citizen, and they didn't care at all. They just were just in a hurry to sell the house or something,
Did they remove all your belongings, or did you take it with you?
I took most of them out on the advice of my cousin, who told me, you better take everything out because they're gonna keep it if you don't.
And you showed me a piece of paper, and the piece of paper says that you're going to be going to court because they're going to do something to this house. What are they trying to do to the house?
Okay. Well, they said on the paper I don't have to show up. They just want to abandon the house because they can't sell it. It needs too many repairs, and there's the taxes are due, and there's a mortgage, $117,000 in interest on a $42 late charge from the mortgage company. I fought in Vietnam, and I watched 20-year-old men give up their lives. They had their entire lives ahead of them, and they never got to live out their lives fighting for our rights and freedoms in this country. And these probate court lawyers can come in and take down senior citizens without anyone in the media or anyone else saying a word about it. And I think it's a complete outrage after these 20-year-old men gave their lives for our country and our rights and freedoms, and these lawyers can come in and just take away people's rights and freedoms with no one in the media or no one else saying a word about it.
Well, and they're also taking advantage of your mom and
My mother never did a thing to anybody in her whole life. She worked hard at a low-wage job her whole life to have a little bit of something in her retirement, and they came in and took away everything she owns and degraded her with dementia, and she's now known as the ward of the state, instead of a beautiful, wonderful person that she is, who does not deserve what's going on. This is a complete outrage, and somebody should do something about this. They're taking down the senior citizens one at a time so no one can figure out what's going on or fight back, because once they do it to you, you're too confused and messed up to know what's going on or fight back, and it's too late to do anything then. You got to, if we don't wake up and do something about it now, everyone's going to get older, and old age is now Alzheimer's according to the medical system. Old age is now Alzheimer's, and the lawyers can come in and take all your money, your rights and freedoms, and everything you worked for and own, and nobody's doing a thing about it. It's just going on, and all the TV, all they talk about is kids, dog stories, and commercials, and they're throwing the old people under the bus in the media. They will not help out at all. They're supposed to be guarding us against government abuse, and they're not doing a thing. You know.
So now, who is this? Is this your neighbor?
Yeah, no, Cheryl,
I forget.
I posted some signs around Royal Oak, trying to publicize what's going on, and she was one of the few people that called me, and thank God she did.
Oh, I had a total nightmare. My mother needed a guardian, and I couldn't be her guardian, yet I lived with her for 59 years. I was treated terrible in Oakland County courts by the judges. It was a terrible situation. I'm still very upset about it. She's passed away a year ago, but it's still on my mind every day. It was horrible.
Now, did you have a guardian, conservative?
The guardian was Tom Frazier, and he was, in my opinion, he was a very rude man. I was in Hallmark's courtroom, and she denied me being my mother's guardian in conservatory. I was very upset about it. After living with someone 59 years, that was totally unacceptable.
No.
So this is how you met Cheryl, though?
Yeah.
Cheryl,
I saw the sign on one of the posts, and I called him, and I told him I had the same situation.
Heather Catella from WXYZ has been doing stories. What do you think about that, Bob?
I think it's great.
Yeah, I talked to her. She's very nice on the phone. Very nice person.
So she did interview you then?
Yeah, but she told me that I probably have to get a lawyer to do something, you know.
So the media was not able to help you?
No.
So do you have a lawyer?
I haven't got a lawyer. I went broke, another one, you know.
Oh, you did pay some money to a lawyer?
Yeah, but he didn't do nothing, anything worth nothing, you know.
Did you hire a lawyer, Cheryl?
I did in the same situation. He wasn't worth 2 cents in my opinion. I was very dissatisfied with him. He went against me instead of supporting me and being for me when I hired him.
Yeah, my lawyer didn't like old people. He thought they all should be in nursing homes. You know, judge is in on it though. They're like, you know, they're all pals. The court lawyers, guardians, and the judge are all pals. It's like a club, you know. See how much money they can make, you know. Why does it seem like when the Medicare money runs out, they all seem to die off in the nursing homes? And I was thinking about this, and they don't kill them. But what they do is they neglect them. They just neglect them and let them die. You know?
Did your mom end up in a nursing home, Cheryl?
Oh, yeah.
So
I had no say or anything about where she was going, nothing.
Where'd she end up going?
To Meadow Lodge in Southfield. Yeah.
And then how long did she last in the nursing home?
Oh, about 4 or 5 months, not long at all, no.